office in Guelph, Ontario, and I am here to talk to you today about funerals. So I love funerals. I adore them. And I tell my clients this often, and I mostly get the same face, like I'm strange, which is a-okay with me. But I'm going to tell you why I love funerals. And hopefully by the end of this video, you might love them too. So there's 3 reasons. One is that it's a socially sanctioned place to emote. There is connection at a funeral. And the third reason is that it marks a very important moment, an ending. So these 3 things I find incredibly important for us as humans. So one is we need places where it's okay to cry, where it's okay to be upset, to be listless, to be a little bit absent, and nobody judge us, nobody get upset with us. Not all families give us that grace, but most of the time when you say I cried at a funeral, nobody's like, oh really? It's okay. It's okay to cry at a funeral. So that's one. And 2 is that usually we're crying with other people. There's closeness. There's a shared experience with all of the people in that place at that funeral. And 3, around marking a moment, is really important because if we lose someone who's close to us, we might not have slept, we might not have eaten in a few days or not eaten enough. Days and nights might have been a blur. And what we do remember afterward is that there was a funeral. So there's kind of a before, life with the person, and then there's an after, life without the person. And there is a before and after for the person as well, before when they are living and after when they are dead. And so that marking of a moment I find really important. And this is why I often recommend that folks have little funerals for something else. So yes, we have funerals for people, but we can also create funerals for other things or other experiences. So when we go through something difficult, let's say a loss of a job, someone else's loss of a job that was important to us in our workplace, the loss of a pet, an illness, our pet's illness, our parents' illness, our partner's illness, our diagnosis, ourselves, our partners, our parents, our children. What else? There can be so many times, loss of a relationship, so many times when a funeral makes sense. So, and the parts of the funeral that I'm talking about are that we're marking a moment. So there's a before I had this diagnosis, and then there's an after I had this diagnosis. And I'm just realizing I had a fairly significant diagnosis a couple years ago, and I haven't done my own thing. I need to do a funeral. I'll let you know what that is when I do it. So there's a before the diagnosis, there's an after the diagnosis, and I'm marking that in between. And also, I'm giving myself room and space and permission to emote, to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel frustrated, to feel like it's unfair. All of those things can have space inside our funeral, whatever that is. So you can do this so many different ways. So you could do the traditional, write a eulogy, stand somewhere, say the thing, and connect with the people you love and invite people. You could do that on your own. And then we're connecting more to ourselves than others. But you could do something much more simple than writing the eulogy and standing up and reading it. You could visit the place where you were sick. You could go for a walk in the park that you and your partner walked. You could write a letter and get rid of it somehow. You can, create a boat and sail it down the river. There are many, many ways that you can express that marking of a thing, of a loss, of grief. And when you do something like, imagine constructing a boat that's going to decompose in the water. Let's be nice to the environment when we have our funerals. So you construct a boat, and then first of all, you've taken the time to make the boat. And then you take the time to walk to a place or drive to a place where there's a river or a lake. And then you take the time to, say some words, to think about the thing that you're saying goodbye to. And then you take the time to put it in the water. And you take the time to watch it go wherever. So you are giving yourself so much space and time to grieve this thing. And usually it feels good. Maybe not in the moment, because there's the sadness and the pain, but it feels helpful. And if you have ideas about how you might do a funeral, let me know. I'd love to hear them, or things you might do a funeral for. And I don't think there's an expiry date on this. So I mentioned that I had a diagnosis a couple of years ago that I haven't done a funeral for. So be it. It'll just be delayed. That's all. So there's no timeline. We're making up the rules here around what funerals could look like. So that's why I love funerals, and maybe you'll love them too. Thanks so much. Bye.